Hi, I've got a small wood shop and I've got three different lasers in here. I've got a 5 watt, a 10 watt, and now a 20 watt. Now I've used these to do a couple little engravings, but I thought since I now have all three of these, they're all diode lasers, I would do a comparison to see how they can do different things. I'm going to cut some material, some wood. I'm going to cut 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, and an 1/8 inch. I'm going to cut all of these at a 50 speed, 100% power. I'm going to cut this a little bit faster, but I'm going to cut 6 passes at the 100%. All of these I'm going to cut through so we can see how deep they go. And I'm going to do some engraving to check the speed. I want to be able to compare these a little bit. Now, I don't have a huge amount of experience with lasers. My 5 watt was the first one I ever used. Now I'm up to this 20 watt. I just want to see what the difference is, and I thought other people would be interested. So stick around. All right, so the 5 watt laser I am using is the Atom Stack A5 M50 Pro Laser 5.5 fixed focus. You can see that it has a little knob on the front that you could use to adjust, which made really easy. I accidentally set it up for 2 passes, so I did that for all of the cuts. This is a nice laser. It's expandable. You can make it longer. It has limit switches, and that front component has an emergency stop that you can depress and stop it and then twist it and start it again. So that's kind of a nice option. The one thing I don't like about this is the height. The space of the Z-axis movement is nice, but that whole, the stepper motor is on the top, which makes it really difficult to store it because it is so tall. So the other ones have the stepper motors below, which makes it easier. And here I'm doing an engraving test. All of these are going to be at 1800 speed and 70% power, and there's a speed test as well, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. For the 10 watt laser, I am using the Ofero or Ortor Laser Master 2. It was a 5 watt. I upgraded to the 10. One of the things I don't like about this is that it requires 2 plugs and extra cords hanging all over. So all of these machines are really easy to set up. They all operate pretty well. All of them I'm using Lightburn for, and they all have about the same cutting area. Now, one of the things that's different with the Ortor and the Atom Stack is you need a card, a piece of plastic to space the laser. So that's kind of a hassle. You have to find it. Overall, I like this machine. I like the size. It operates well, and it's got nice markings on it. One of the things I'm not a huge fan of, again, are the multiple cords I needed and the thumb screw adjustment on the side. Now, you can see it cutting here, again, the mahogany. I'm doing the engraving, and here is just the speed test and everything else that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. So overall, the 10 watt is a nice machine. For the 20 watt, I'm using the X-Tool D1 Pro 20 watt laser. Now, it doesn't have a card for the spacer. You saw that lever, and you put that down, and that laser that you were seeing going around actually is to frame out and figure out where you're going to cut. So in terms of the laser, it is a true 20 watt output, which not all 20 watt lasers are. Sometimes it says 20 watt, but that's the amount of power going in. Now, this is a little bit more solid machine than the other ones, which is nice. It looks much better. It still has that stop on the front. It also has air assist, which is easy to set up, and it is a really powerful machine. For me, there are a couple of things that make the X-Tool a little bit better than the other ones in terms of what you get, whether it's the 10 or the 20 watt. It also has its own software, so you can use Lightburn or the software that they sell with it. I do like the closed frame and the setup. All right, so here are the results. Now, I did change what I was going to do. I ran a speed test, engraving test. I did I did 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and 0.27 MDF. And I did an engraving. Now, the thing is, I ran out of time. Really, I had 3 machines in my shop, and I don't have any place to build anything or anything like that. So I had to do some stuff and cut short all the tests I wanted to do. But these are the results. Let me show them to you. All right, 1/8 inch plywood, roughly 3 millimeters, 5, 10, and 20. Now, I accidentally set this up wrong. Somehow or other, I hit 2 passes instead of 1. Did not pay attention. Took roughly 5 minutes. Now, I want you to see 1 pass. I'm sorry, 2 passes, 2 passes. And I only did 1 pass with this because it cut through it too quickly. So you can see some charring here on the second. It would have made through on the 1. You see charring on the back side. Up to the 1/4 inch, 5, 10, 20. Again, with 20, I only did 1 pass. Notice the charring. Now with the 5 watt, it didn't even punch through the other side at all. And you can see the amount of charring on the side. Ideally, this would have been slowed down. And the 0.27 MDF. So 2 passes, 2 passes. I only did 1 pass again. Notice that we're almost through. Lots of charring with the 2 passes here. And this is the 1/2 inch with 2 passes. Again, one of the things I want to show is I'm going to cut this in half and show you what it looks like. But notice with these two, we're almost through with 2 passes and the amount of charring. So here's that piece cut in half. Notice that the 5 watt barely even punched through the top. The 10 and the 20 watt both did a really nice job almost all the way through. And we finish up with the 0.5 with 6 passes. So not even mark on the other side. Both of these cut through. Notice the amount of charring. Ooh, that's a lot. So that was impressive. I didn't think it would cut through that because I tried with another one. You can see the amount of charring likely to start a fire. Air assist would be good. And then let's look at an engraving. I just did a simple engraving. So all of these 1800 speed, 70% power, okay, took roughly the same amount of time, but notice how deep this one's pretty clean. Like I wouldn't mind this. A lot of charring here. I could have slowed it down or sped it up or decreased the speed. And I'm sure once I sand that, it would look nice. There's a lot of detail in that as well. Key thing to learn or know is that I could do these much faster if I had a multitude of them. And last, I did an engraving test using 1/8 inch plywood. This is the 5 watt. The speeds of the material are on the side, 500 to 2500, and the percent power, 10 to 100. So you'll notice the striking difference between these two. You can see we're almost through on a couple of those. And then this is the 20 watt. You'll see that we did go through on most of these. Again, somehow or other I inverted this. I don't know what I did, but notice again, 500 to 2500, 10 to 100% power. You can see how much faster the 20 watt is compared to the others. All right, so my opinion. You can see that the 5 watt did a lot of nice things, but it just doesn't have the same power or speed as a 10 and a 20 watt. The 10 watt and the 20 watt, very similar in terms of some of the stuff they could cut out. The 20 watt is obviously going to be faster. When it comes to the MDF, it did not cut out as nice. Even, I think having air assist would help, but not enough. I have started making and selling these MDF templates for cornhole boards. It takes me 21 minutes to cut and engrave this with a 20 watt. So it works out really well. In terms of engraving this, the 20 watt obviously is much faster and better. So that's really the key difference, is that the 20 watt is going to be much faster and be able to cut more. I just did this engraving. Here it is. I did that as a commission piece. I did it with a 20 watt. It took me 2.5 hours to cut that. If I'd done it with a 10 watt, it would have taken me much longer. So again, my suggestion, if you are buying an entry-level laser, you're just getting started, skip the 5 watt. It's going to frustrate you because there's a limit to pretty much anything and it'll take way too much time. The 10 watt will allow you to do more, but it'll take a little bit longer. The 20 watt, if you want to do any sort of production capacity for yourself, small shop wise, I would go with a 20 watt. Obviously a 40 watt or larger would be better. I don't have a 40 watt. But the diode lasers have a lot of capability and do a really nice job cutting out stuff. And I'm really happy with the 20 watt. So that would be my suggestion if you're making things to sell and time is a factor. Probably my best thoughts. Have a good day. Thanks for watching.